Hi and welcome to Scrum Artifact session. In this session, we are going to study different artifacts that we need to maintain as part of Scrum. So these are the three artifacts. The first important artifact is product backlog, and the second one is sprint backlog, and the third one is increment or accepted deliverable. This product backlog is a document which is a complete set of requirements that you need to build in your product. Product backlog is maintained by product owner in collaboration with developers and Scrum Master. And the sprint backlog is a document, or it is a set of requirements, or we can even call it a subset of product backlog, because at the start of each sprint we take small set of high value user stories from product backlog and we form a sprint backlog, and we develop these requirements as part of that particular sprint, and we create an increment. So increment is a small working software, or it is a small part of your complete product. So these are the three important artifacts, and let us look at product backlog in detail, like what all stories, what all features it contains. Here you can see a product backlog. It can contain epics, it may contain features, it may contain user stories. Epic is a large user story which you need to decompose further down into smaller manageable components known as features, and each of the features you might have to decompose into different small user stories. So here we have taken an example of epic as building a payments module in the banking application. That can be one of the epic, but this particular requirement is very vague, so you have to drill down and you have to decompose it so as to make it a manageable requirement. So you have to further decompose it, and you may have to form two features like this, like building a cash payment functionality and building a check payment functionality. These can be the two features in your product backlog, and this particular feature you may further decompose it and you may come up with few of the user stories like this. One of the user stories can be, as a cashier, I want to help customers deposit their cash so that they can maintain balance in their account. So these are the few of the examples that I have taken so as to make you understand what is epic, what are features, and what are user stories. Now let us understand the attributes of a user story. Each of the user story must be invest. Invest is an acronym for independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable. That means each of your user story must be independent of other user stories. It should be negotiable. That means it should be flexible enough, and it should be valuable. You cannot just think that you will be just constructing a front end login screen and you will be delivering. That is not going to add value to your customer. You also have to think of developing the backend functionality of that particular login screen. Then only it will add value. Yeah, so your user story has to be valuable. Estimable. You should be able to estimate user story. If you are not able to estimate, if you find your user story vague, then you might have to think of decomposing it further into smaller user stories and then try to estimate it and come up with some approximate story points or approximate size for that user story. Your user story must be small enough to fit into a sprint, and it should be testable. Or you might be constructing some automated test cases, so your user story must meet these all requirements. So this is how your perfect user story looks like. So these are the different attributes of a user story. Now, as we have completed Scrum Artifacts session, I would like to highlight Product backlog is one of the important document, and there is something called product backlog grooming. And the essence of product backlog grooming we will be understanding as part of my Agile Scrum implementation course, which is part of my next membership level, that is Gold membership. And in that course we will also understand how to estimate each of these user stories, how to decompose user stories, and what are the techniques available for estimating the user stories, and how we can track work sprint on sprint. So we will also be doing a couple of projects in our next course, that is Agile Scrum implementation course, which is part of my Gold membership. So this is all about Scrum artifacts. I hope you have got a clear idea about what all artifacts primarily we need to maintain as part of Scrum.